Good morning and welcome to True Life Tours. That's it. Plenty of room at the back. The bus is big enough for everyone. Go to the top deck if you like. You'll still hear me on the speakers, although you won't see my lovely face. Is this thing on? Haha. Sorry. Okay, Mr. Driver, off we go. Here we are in the small village of Rainscourt. To your left, surrounded by chestnut trees, you'll see the house where I grew up. Not much happened until my 8th birthday, which started off like any other day until we got to school. Mrs. Winslow, our teacher, was mumbling in a strange language and looking at a big dusty book. There's the building, over there on the right. An enormous creature with several heads rose from the depths of the playground and made its way towards us. One of the kids, Michael March I think he was called, went to the headmistress to tell her what was going on, but he never returned. I realised if we were going to stop her, we would have to do it ourselves. I gathered everyone together and whispered a plan, but at that moment Mrs. Winslow caught us. The creature tore the school roof right off. Yes, it's been repaired, you'd never guess. And I knew it was up to me to save everyone. I ran to my lunchbox, got my corned beef sandwiches out and threw them into the creature's mouth. After a few chews, it looked all horrified and stuff, and then it exploded, pieces of it landing all over the place. Everyone was going, "Yeah, you did it," and Mrs. Winslow was saying curses and shaking her fist. And when the police took her away, everyone carried me on their shoulders and clapped. We tried to tell our parents, but they didn't believe us, though we knew different. No one thought to take photographs. Now we're coming to the picturesque town of Croswell, where I moved for university. I wanted a quiet life, but, of course, when duty calls, one must answer. My roommate burst into my dorm one morning yelling about giant worms taking over the library. Of course, I immediately went down there with no thought to my own safety, and sure enough, yes, that's the library on the right, just past the park, 4 of the enormous buggers were crawling over the rooftop, and a small crowd watched nervously from a distance. This girl, really pretty with blonde hair, went up the steps trying to return her books because she didn't see the worms. One of the beasties reached down and sucked them all, including her, into its gaping maw, and everyone screamed. Then, around the other side of the building, I heard shouts and ran straight over. On the ground was a single book which no one wanted to go near, but I picked it up and flipped through the pages. It seemed to be a combination of sci-fi, noir and romance. The main character investigated the murder of a being from a different galaxy before settling down with his one true love to become a lady novelist. Then, when I turned to the final page, there was the face of the girl. "Help me," she whispered, and I knew what I had to do. I ordered everyone to bring as many different books as they could, and, sure enough, the worms couldn't cope with such bizarre combinations and they exploded, pieces of them landing all over the place. Yes, it really happened. No, I don't remember the amusing combinations. Of course it wasn't on the news. Do you think they'd want people to panic? It was kept very hush-hush. I can't even tell anyone that the Prime Minister himself came to thank me. The next few years were quite uneventful. I moved to the quiet town of Quigley Downs with James, who was the love of my life. We're just heading up the bypass towards it now. His full name? James, Window. James Window. All that really happened during that time was the mishap with the removal van driver. We had a call from the firm saying he'd taken a wrong turn into a parallel universe, and could we keep an eye out for him? Well, I did much better than that. I raced out the door even though James begged me not to and was crying and stuff, and I located the van using my sonographic tracer. I found the tear in the fabric of space and time and crawled through, and there was the vehicle standing stationary outside the dry cleaners. It was surrounded by 6-headed, 11-breasted, slavering wolf ladies, and the owner of the dry cleaners was desperately throwing towels and pants and jumpers at them, while the driver yelled in terror. The wolf women took not the slightest bit of notice and continued slamming fists against the windshield and windows, growling and snarling and drooling, milk leaking from their 11 nipples. I had to act, and fast. I pulled a bomb shaped like a pork chop from my pocket and threw it as hard as I could. The beasts turned to me and, for a horrible moment, I thought they were going to charge at me instead. However, they chased the device down, and as soon as their teeth clamped around it, there was an almighty bang, and then they exploded, pieces of them landing all over the place. The removal man thanked me with tears in his eyes, and I hopped into the vehicle beside him, bringing our furniture and homeware back to James. Yes, James' window. How dare you? He was very real. He is. Ask my mum. They spoke on the phone several times. No, they never met because he was ill. He died, you know. It's a sensitive point. Thus concludes today's True Life Tours. No, we don't do refunds. Look, you wanted a tour of a real life, and that's what I've given you. Well, sometimes real life does have a weak ending. Please exit the bus calmly, unless you're staying on for the life of Jeff Lemon. Goodbye.